Warning. Thunder Talk contains foul language, adult subject matter, and is intended for mature audiences. Warning. Thunder Talk contains foul humor and unpopular opinions and is intended for immature audiences. Warning. No one should be listening to Thunder Talk.
Hello, con people. Welcome to Thunder Talk, the podcast that asks the question, is James Bond secretly a rogue Time Lord? Yes, the question is relevant to the episode this time. I'm your host, Sexy Thor. Today we'll be talking about all things Comic-Con, at least what we loved and what we want to gripe about. Lightning Lad's friend Steven drops by to talk Clemson football, and the return of Missy. We talk with her about zombies, and she helps us out with a brand new round of What Would Thor Do? In Dan's Bad Advice column. Lightning Lad, roll the thunder.
From the smoking section of the Nerd Bliss podcast, the Weirdos Workshop presents Thunder Talk. Sexy Thor. And Lightning. Thunder Talk.
San Diego Comic-Con.
SDCC.
Marvel is noticeably absent, saving all their Captain Marvel and Avengers 4 stuff to bring all those details to light on their own terms.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that. Don't you worry about that, good people. Had some trailers drop.
Yeah, this was DC's opportunity to really make a big splash in the movie department and the movie announcing and all that.
Go ahead and bounce on over to the Nerd Bliss. We did talk about the trailers that dropped from DC. Sexy Thor and I are going to go sideways in a way you haven't seen yet or heard yet.
Felt yet
in your heart, in your Warrior Thunder spirit.
In your loins.
We're going to stick with the two movie trailers.
Yes, because Sexy Thor didn't get to be a part of the discussion over there, so I'm going to discuss it over here.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, boss. I mean, on one hand, I would say go ahead and hit up Chris Jones, master and commander of the Nerd Bliss fleet. But on the other hand, I have fancied myself as the talent coordinator of the Nerd Bliss.
I started my show for a reason.
You started, yeah, not going to have me on, motherfucker. I'm not going to have you on.
I mean, I'm not saying that as a passive-aggressive offense taken or anything.
No, you're being straight up aggressive, which I respect.
Sexy Thor, so misunderstood.
Sexy Thor, he's into poetry, guys. He'll spit some Keats at you all day.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Aquaman and Shazam. The success of the DCEU, or the world of DC as it's now called, is hinging upon Aquaman and Shazam, and so far they're on the right track of pointing that needle north and possibly finding new life.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Shazam trailer. A lot of Easter eggs in that, yeah?
There are Easter eggs in this Shazam trailer where they show that they're not ignoring Justice League and what's come before. There's stuff from having like a replica Batarang that's right in your face to his brother wearing shirts that clearly have the Aquaman and Wonder Woman logos on it, to little stuff such as news articles that reference Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman facing down Doomsday, to Superman coming back to life, to there being a Time magazine cover where it shows the little terraforming machine that Zod tried to use to start destroying Metropolis and terraform the Earth to be Krypton.
Were there any Suicide Squad Easter eggs in there?
Sadly, no little references to anything that happened in Midway City. By that, I'm talking about Suicide Squad.
Everyone can see all this drippy magic stuff, right?
Yeah, why?
I'm off my meds.
Shazam. It's certainly, in terms of the entire DC catalog of properties, it's an interesting move. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We're even going to go Aquaman. We'll get to that in a minute. Flash and Cyborg. And then let's go Shazam! I watched the trailer, and for as much as I hate everything, I was entertained by it. I felt kind of good about it.
I felt very good about it.
Are you proud of me, Sexy Thor?
Applause.
Do you love me yet?
In fact, even some other DCEU naysayers that we know have had positive responses to Shazam and the Aquaman trailers, so that needle must be really pointing north here.
I mean, you've heard me say this before. Marvel has done wonderful things with characters that I thought might be questionable in a broad market outside of your core comic book purchasing world. And they've done magic. They've taken B and C list characters and just turned that into gold. Is it time for DC to do the same?
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
One thing I might say that gave me a second of pause. It looks like his brother is the one who understands and sees and wants to be kind of the outside mentor on what it is to be a superhero. DC is now publicly stating they're not chasing after the MCU. What was Ned? Could this be another Homecoming?
Yeah, he's pretty much kind of fulfilling the Ned role, maybe even doing a better job of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I personally kind of liked Ned, but
I fucking love Ned, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay,
right? Ned is us.
Ned was one of the best parts of the best Spider-Man movie ever made, which was Spider-Man Homecoming. And if you disagree with me, you can go ahead and hit us up. That's Sexy Thor's Thunder Talk at gmail.com. Call us 864-715-9446. Homecoming, best Spider-Man movie ever. Fight me. Please just fight me. Now, Ned played the role of the guy in the chair.
He was like part guy in the chair, part the audience member like you and me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ned was our window into the world of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, that's why the paychecks I cash have Sexy Thor's name on them. Yes, that's exactly what Ned did for us. Got to be the guy in the chair. Like what would we tell Peter Parker? What would we sitting there tell Peter Parker to do? Billy Batson's brother? Certainly. In terms of story, fills that same role. In Homecoming, Ned was the guy in the chair. And he had a lot of superhero questions like, how did he get your power? Whereas it appears in Shazam, Billy Batson's brother is fully immersed in the fictional and real world of superheroes. Billy Batson's brother seems to be a comic book kind of guy. And he's going to be there helping Billy Batson, a.k.a. Shazam, figure his shit out.
I think you hit it. You hit that nail right on the head, and that's why I sign your paychecks.
Thanks, boss. Gee willikers. Hey, can I pick up some hours on Thursday?
This means Billy!
What is happening?
You're the Spider-Man from YouTube.
If you could have one superpower, what would you pick?
You got bit by a spider? Can it bite me?
You're the only person I know that knows anything about this Cape Crusader stuff.
Do you lay eggs?
What are your superpowers?
Can you spit venom?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
Can you summon an army of spiders?
You have super strength!
How far can you shoot your webs?
Can you fly?
What does Hulk smell like?
You have bullet immunity!
I'm bulletproof.
Are you an Avenger?
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm a superhero.
Yeah, basically.
Something I find interesting about Shazam is he's magical and has magical powers. Doctor Strange also has magical powers, but I'm done drawing DC Marvel parallels, at least for this second in time. Superman. This will inhabit the world of Superman. Superman, we know Superman is vulnerable to kryptonite, right?
Right.
What else is he vulnerable to? There's something that he is very vulnerable to. What is that?
He's weak against magic.
Yes, magic. Magic fucks up Superman. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Magic Johnson right now. Show Superman what's up. He's weak against magic. Sexy Thor. Do you know the history on that?
Yeah, it all started in the 1981 NBA Finals.
I don't know how long in the comic books that's been the deal.
A few years ago, I saw an animated Shazam film. I think it was an origin story.
Superman was definitely the supporting actress in that one. And that's where I found out that, oh God, this magic kid Shazam guy can fuck Superman up.
But can he fuck up Black Adam?
The industry talk around this film is Dwayne Johnson.
Can you smell what Black Adam is cooking?
You smell what Black Adam is cooking?
Over in Kahndaq.
Yes. Yes. Black Adam. He's been signed to play Black Adam. What I'm confused about, and would probably know the answer to had I actually gone further in investigating, other than just spitting my words here into the microphone, is he going to be in this movie as Black Adam, or did they sign him to a future project?
Yeah, from what I understand, he's not going to be in this Shazam. He might be in a sequel. He's been speculated so far to be the villain in Suicide Squad 2, or be in Suicide Squad 2 in some respect, but that's yet to be definitely confirmed. But for sure, he's not going to be in Shazam, and if they give any sort of hint to Black Adam, it's going to be an off-screen thing. Kind of like Thanos' human-sized hands in the Avengers post-credit scene. That definitely can't have an Infinity Gauntlet around it.
Got them Trump hands. Or Justice League as Steppenwolf, after he gets defeated for his Oedipus complex, as he's teleporting away, he drops the word dark side.
After just randomly spurting out mother. I don't even think he's meaning the mother box, and like half the times he spouts it out. I mean, maybe he's just a really big fan of the Danzig song, and he.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Maybe he's just trying to have some Danzig and Misfits karaoke with the Justice League.
The Shazam trailer made me feel good, and I will still probably wait till video to see it, but maybe not. Sexy Thor, what's your hot take on this Shazam trailer?
I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out at a very interesting point as far as the other movies are concerned, Marvel and DC, because it comes out in the month smack dab in between Captain Marvel, which, fun fact, that was Shazam's original name, and,
oh my God. Yes.
And Avengers 4, which shows that DC's balls are growing a little bit because, you know, back when Batman vs. Superman came out, it was originally supposed to drop either the same weekend or very close to the weekend that Captain America Civil War came out. But right. As soon as they announced that, they bounced that shit up to March.
Right.
But now they're like, yeah, have pretty much your new face of the MCU, have her solo movie, and have untitled Avengers 4 sequel in your spots. We'll do it right smack dab in the middle because we feel good about it.
Across the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens soar, you'll behold in breathless wonder the God of thunder, mighty Thor.
We have one of our first letters into the show from one of our faithful listeners, Brock Lesnar. Seems like a nice guy. Y'all ever heard of him?
Oh yeah, the current Universal Champion of the WWE, and he's made waves in the UFC.
Yeah, all right. Well, Brock writes in saying, Sexy Thor, I'm being forced to choose between my career with the WWE or continuing with the UFC. Kurt Angle, I don't know who that is forcing me to pick one or the other. I love them both so much. Help, Sexy Thor. Which one do I choose? P.S. I'm a huge fan of the show, especially Dan's Bad Advice column. Well, thanks for that, Brock. Real quick, we have Missy up in the studio with us tonight.
Yo.
Definitely an expert on this subject.
Brock Lesnar trying to choose between the WWC and the WWE, and apparently somebody by the name of Kurt Angle is making him choose. Missy, Sexy Thor, Mr. Lesnar needs your help.
Thank you, Brock, for listening, first of all. Yeah, general manager of Raw, Kurt Angle, put up an ultimatum to Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules that he needs to show up and defend his title as Universal Champion at SummerSlam, or he's vacating it.
It's summertime, and the living is anything but easy, because it's time for SummerSlam!
Brock Lesnar's been pursuing a career at UFC for some time, and, as we like to talk about here at Thunder Talk, you need to grow and evolve and change, because that's, just important for you as a person. But, yeah, he's being faced as an ultimatum because, his heart just might lie in the WWE, but he wants to pursue this thing at UFC.
I definitely think he should go to the WWE and stay there.
Yeah, exactly. This is really pivotal for him because, if he doesn't show up at SummerSlam, then it's going to be Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley again. And while their match this past Monday and at Extreme Rules were fan-freaking-tastic, we don't want it running to the ground. It's going to get old like Cavs versus Warriors.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. Main reason I think he should stay at the WWE is because he's already failed a drug test at the UFC, and they've already suspended him for failing that drug test. So it's kind of like you're moving backwards at this point.
Exactly, and my hat's off to Brock for branching out and giving the UFC a try. But I think he's pretty much done all he could or should do there, and he's run into the constant problem of drug tests and getting suspended. So he's in suspended animation.
Yes, he's alive. And in perfect hibernation.
You don't want to go back to what you just pretty much messed up, because the fans at UFC, they're not going to be like, hey, he has a chance at winning because he's clean. No, I still don't think Brock's clean, obviously. Speaking of UFC, one of my favorite wrestlers, CM Punk, he's been at the UFC for I don't know how long, and he's not really getting anywhere at the UFC. I love CM Punk to death, but he's not really doing anything.
Exactly. He's only been there for, quite a long time. He's only had 2 matches, and he's lost both of them.
He's been there about 5 years, I think. 4 or 5 years, I would say.
Yeah, and only 2 matches. And Brock's not had that much either, because I don't ever remember him seeing on a UFC Fight Night title card that you would see on, Fox Sports 1 and all that. I only recall, the pay-per-view stuff that's only once a month, and, those fighters only appear once every few months on pay-per-view, while, in the WWE, he would get constant exposure because Raw and SmackDown are always live every Monday and Tuesday, and then the monthly pay-per-view stuff.
In regards to the WWE, it's the longest running television on TV today, and he has no choice but to go up. If he was on the TV show, more than what he is now, then he would definitely see a progress in his career.
You're talking about the WWE is going to be a better move for Brock based on exposure. Am I hearing you right on that?
Well, for the most part, but I'm also just talking about how the sport is just sort of, losing all its superstars and, really losing interest in all that. Because, for major fights at UFC at pay-per-view, from the sports bars that I've gone to watch them, back in 2015, those bars were packed just about every fight. And then it just declined to, only the major fights where somebody major was going. And now, the past few times I've been there, it's easy for me to get a seat at the bar when I would have to stand in the arcade at Dave & Buster's just to be able to watch it.
I love the UFC, but it's like Sexy Thor say, it's just not what it was a couple of years ago.
The advice given, just to play devil's advocate, seems to be more about exposure than it does sport.
As far as exposure goes, let's be honest, Brock Lesnar, how you say his name?
Lesnar.
has plenty of exposure. In my thoughts, I'm thinking longevity. Brock's not getting any younger. Brock's been around for years in the WWE. And, you know, what got him into the WWE is being a wrestler in the first place, as far as doing wrestling at school, wrestling at college. That's what he knows. So I just figure he needs to stay with what he knows, make the fans happy, and just retire at the WWE.
Exactly. So we hope the information and advice we gave to you, Brock, has helped you out with your decision, and I look forward to catching you at SummerSlam.
Brock, we need you. I'm just going to be real. The WWE needs you. Show up at SummerSlam, make the fans happy, and get the money.
And that is what would Missy and Thor do.
Adios.
Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, General Adnan, the Triangle of Terror, square off against the red-hot combination of the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan.
Hello, podcast fans. My name is Chris Jones, and I'm here to tell you about the Nerd Bliss podcast. Now, of all the geek-oriented podcasts out there, we are definitely one of them. Yes, we talk about Star Trek and Star Wars and cosplay and Marvel and DC and the usual. But as geeks, we embrace anyone with very specialized knowledge, like triathletes or improv comedians or musicians. So we try to bring them in and let them share their geekiness with you to help broaden some horizons, and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe we'll learn something. You can find our entire catalog at nerdblisspodcast.com on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play Music, Player FM, and we are now proud to be a part of the ESO network. Once again, we are the Nerd Bliss Podcast. Thank you, and pod bless.
Where are we going?
Back in time.
So, wait a minute, dude. You're saying that James Bond is a Time Lord?
Oh, yeah. And this was brought to my attention by, because, Sexy Thor's got sexy comic book friends, too.
Oh, definitely. Sexy life, man. Sexy life.
And this was brought to my attention by Sexy Black Widow. She goes by Rachel sometimes. And we came up with this thing where James Bond changes faces every few years, just like Doctor Who, right?
Yeah.
And they're both British, right? Or at least they portray British meat sacks or skin suits or whatever.
Yeah, they're definitely into that British human leather. That's a weird thing to say. They're both British. Yeah. Yes, they're both British.
Well, what if James Bond is a Time Lord like the Doctor, but he went rogue, and instead of, doing whatever good things Time Lords do for the universe and all of space-time and everything, he just went rogue and for whatever reason decided to work for MI6.
What?
Exactly.
Well, we know that the Doctor rides around in a TARDIS. That's the proper British word for telephone booth, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, two peoples separated by a common language. It's a telephone booth, people. It's like, let's call dinosaurs different names. No, whatever. So the Doctor's into, he's got British flair. Bad food?
I think James Bond actually dines pretty fine.
Oh my gosh. If the Doctor appears to be intrinsically British, and we know the British are exposed to really bad food, then yeah, I guess James Bond Doctor Who would, that's one of the molds he would break, wouldn't it?
Exactly. That man can down a good tequila shot with a scorpion on his hand. Can you down a tequila shot with a scorpion on your hand?
Yes. Every time. Every single time. Audience, that's Sexy Thor's Thunder Talk at gmail.com. Or go ahead and hit us up on the Nerd Bliss podcast phone line. Love the Nerd Bliss. Love the phone line. Go ahead and give us a call at 864-715-9446 when you're ready to take a tequila shot with me, Lightning Lad, on your hand. You went down the wrong road, Sexy Thor. But that's okay. What else? What other evidence you got?
Well, really, that's what I had for the most part.
Black
tie. You know, whenever I wear this, something bad always happens.
It's not the outfit, that's just you. Anyway, I think it suits you. In a James Bond kind of way.
James Bond?
Really? But yeah, audience, let us know. And if you don't think James Bond is a Time Lord, what do you think he is?
Well, he is a Time Lord. We lay the burden of proof on you to tell us otherwise. Missy, what's up?
Speaking of James Bond and the British people, one of my favorite actors, Idris Elba, got a lot of pushback on the James Bond role. He was up for the role. He was up for the role, and I believe a lot of, what would you call it? A lot of politics, maybe just because he's black, he wouldn't be a good James Bond. But you have to think of the fact we're working with, what is James Bond? He's more than one person, like Triple X. Like the Triple X, there's more than one James Bond. There's plenty of James Bonds, and James Bond has many moves, and Idris Elba would have been a great fucking James Bond in my opinion.
I guess on behalf of insecure white people, I would thank you for framing it as politics. All right, that was downright. We're talking like base level racism, as in like knee jerk. It doesn't even go past any kind of filter in your thought.
He has a real British accent.
He's British. Jesus, he's fucking British. I mean, what other qualification does Doctor Who or James Bond need? I mean, we could open up the discussion about the new Doctor Who as a woman, right? And you have people prolapsing their colons over that. Yeah, Idris Elba.
He's great.
I'm not going to lie. James Bond for me as a kid growing up, and I grew up at an age where I certainly could have picked up on what James Bond was laying down. I thought it was a bunch of baloney. It really did nothing for me. It didn't. Just a bunch of gizmos, doodads, toys, and stuff. I did like, what's his name?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. I liked him. I liked that they went kind of raw and real with that. I especially liked where they assaulted his genitals directly in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Just the idea that of what we know of James Bond, trying to bring it into some kind of modern sensibility. What's the worst thing you do to James Bond? Attack his dick. You know what I mean? Break the dick. But then those ended up kind of losing my interest to no fault of their own. Those have been my favorite James Bonds. Not a series that I've been overly fond of, and when the idea of Idris Elba was being thrown around and what he would bring to the character, it certainly raised my eyebrow. And now you're telling us, Missy, that's just not...
It's not happening.
That's not happening. 2018 is too soon
Hopefully we get, black James Bond. I'm hoping for my people.
I'm sure it's just a matter of time, too.
You're late.
Just as far as Idris Elba being cast in so many movies where he's either that bad guy or that bad black guy, it would be cool to see him play that James Bond role with that real British accent, that gentleman look, fucking all the bad bitches, all that good shit.
It'd be cool to see him playing a guy.
Yeah.
A badass guy.
Yeah.
He did play in, bringing it always back to comic books, he plays...
Heimdall.
There you go.
My best friend that got stabbed in the heart.
No, I loved Heimdall. Otherwise, you're right. You want to go nerd on this? He played the villain in the last Star Trek movie, Star Trek Beyond, as what might be the most convoluted villain in all of Star Trek history. It's like, what's pissing this guy off? What's going on here? I mean, I like the Beastie Boys, but what's going on with this?
And he was the lone gunman, or whatever you want to call him, in the Dark Tower.
Which Bond?
Yeah, but he was definitely the best part of that.
Oh, I'm sure he was. Everything I've seen him in, he's on a show on the BBC. He stars in a cop drama, which their television is our high art. That's why you find it on PBS. Well, that and they don't really pay much for it. Everything Idris Elba does is pro.
They remember his name in it. Like there's a lot of actors that you see on television, but there's only few that you actually remember their real name.
Yeah, right. You think you can play Doctor Who?
I don't know who the fuck that is. Who the fuck is Doctor Who? That's y'all two. Who is it? Tell me. Tell the world.
Yeah. I wish Luna were here. She's the resident expert on all things Doctor Who. The one that I watched,
was the one with the perm on PBS. Speaking of BBC, PBS being BBC's a place to stash their leftovers. And it was like, it's like if you took away Star Trek. It's like if you took the original series of Star Trek and decided to record it on a home video camera with cardboard sets. No, Doctor Who's a big thing, Missy. I don't fully understand it either. Sexy Thor, you and Sexy Black Widow want to take us to school on all that? You want to thread that loop?
Well, from what little I've seen of Doctor Who, from what I gather, the Time Lords are aliens who go around in different places and times with their phone booth and their screwdriver, and they always pick a human companion for whatever reason, and they just go around, having to fight all these bad people in other places and try to make the universe a better place.
That sounds awesome. Try to make the universe a better place. And you can do that by going to SoundCloud and listening to my song, Unexpectable, Missy H2O, hitting you with that water flow. So just hide your females.
Ha! Boom! Boom!
Hide your females in your TARDIS.
Yes. with your James Bond business and such.
And that was just our random nerd musings for this issue of Thunder Talk. We'd like to thank Sexy Black Widow, Hachel.
Sexy Black Widow, Hachel, definitely coming soon.
Come on the show soon.
To a Thunder Talk near you.
Back to the Aquaman trailer. This one looks like it's going to be very standalone. I've heard it pretty much has as little to do with the Justice League as possible. It's pretty much all about Arthur Curry's half-brother. He's taken over the throne of Atlantis, and he wants to declare war on the surface world because he's angry and he wants humans to die. So Mira has to convince Arthur to reclaim that throne and for Atlantis to not kill all humans.
Perfect synopsis. Dick Brother wants to destroy surface world.
Sounds like my life.
Right? If I had a dime.
If I had a dime for every time a shitty brother wanted to wage war on some other planet.
I was going to say, fuck you, Josh. Okay? I don't have a brother named Josh, but...
And Loki.
If your name is Josh and you're a brother, you're on notice. I'm just saying.
Your clock's ticking.
Your clock is ticking.
Your half-brother, King Orm, is about to declare war upon the surface world.
I would never have thought to have heard myself say this, but I found myself kind of interested in the Aquaman trailer. Kind of like, maybe I will go see that in the theater. I liked the trailer. I think the bigger question that everyone is asking is, since when did Aquaman become the most fuckable super friend?
About 2-3 years ago.
About 2-3 years ago. Yeah. That looks like it could be a cool movie. It does. It does. For as much as as much as I've personally felt been burned about DC so far, I find myself even interested in that.
Yeah, they look like, they know they did you wrong in the past. They've been really working on themselves, and they've made strides. They've made wonderful progress, and now they want to get back together. They want to make you happy again.
Yeah,
they've done the work to make themselves happy, and now they want to make you happy and have this beautiful relationship of movie studio and consumer, and they just want to make you feel good.
Because how can you love someone else if you don't even love yourself?
I know. They're learning to love the characters over loving the MCU formula.
That's right. They're learning to stop creeping on Iron Man, and they're starting to spend more time in the mirror.
Jarvis.
I know. They're like super teams are for the Avengers and the Golden State Warriors. We're going to tell good stories with our guys.
You say that, and I feel that, yet Wonder Woman, which was a good movie, came out before Justice League, which to me was a shit movie. It was the best of the shit movies they've done. King Turd of Shit Mountain is, for me, is still Justice League. They've shown us that they can do good. Their trailers feel like they may have figured it out.
But we'll see this Christmas and next spring.
Yeah, we got Aquaman dropping
December 21st.
December 21st. Look, we're not on Warner's payroll, so we're just telling you that as public information.
I know. My name's Sexy Thor, not Sexy Aquaman.
Yeah, right.
But I can be Sexy Aquaman if that's your thing.
No, we're not even fucking around with that. If you want to join our As Future Yet set up Patreon at the $10 a month level, Sexy Thor will sexy Aquaman all day just for you.
Per your consent, of course.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a whole fuck ton of paperwork involved. Yeah, but, I mean, just for you.
Sexy Aquaman.
Hello. Have you ever wondered how much Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster sold Superman's rights to DC for? Or which popular football star was the Sam Wilson the Falcons' physical appearance based on? You can find all that and more at the History of Comic Books podcast, a podcast dedicated to the creators, events, history, and the companies that made the great comic book medium. Hosted and created by your friendly neighborhood JT Wheatley. Please give it a listen at iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and all our podcasting platforms. Thank you, and go ahead and enjoy yourself a good comic book.
Thunder Talk exclusive.
All right. We are honored to have a special guest here in Studio D tonight. Jon Rasmussen, frontman of the infamous Revelator. He's also over there at the Black Market Toast podcast. Jon is here to drop the latest single from his band Entertainment Center. Jon, how you doing?
Good. It's the first and only single so far, but yes, Entertainment Center. The single, the digital single, will drop on the 10th. It's just 2 songs. Heath and I from Revelator got together with Ricky Tesla of Ricky Tesla and the Noise Generator and made a thing. Just a couple songs, just getting it out there, and the lyric video has been out, came out on the 3rd, and it is available on YouTube.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. So tell us about the track we're going to be hearing tonight.
Okay, the track that you'll be playing is it's called Long Con. It's the A side. It's basically almost a sociopath getting engaged. Just a guy who, society tells him that he should be in love and should be moving in this direction, and so he's going through the motions and getting engaged and about to get married.
I can't tell if it was written for me or my wife.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do we. So where can all our Thunder people find you at?
Entertainment Center. It's small, so we have a Facebook page. We are at entertainmentcenter.bandcamp.com, and we have a YouTube page as well, which has that one video on it.
Okay, cool. Very cool. What's the name of that track one more time?
Long Con.
That's
like LONG space CON.
Right. Long Con coming at you people now.
It's been a long time.
have one of my best friends in the entire universe here today in the studio. We are honored to have Stephen Cooley.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on today. Pleasure to be here with you talking sports and bad calm advice and all that great stuff.
Thank you.
Thunder.
Bringing the thunder. My good friend, my dear friend Stephen here, is a born and raised diehard fan of Clemson football.
That's right. Go Tigers all the way. We're going to do it again this year. We'll probably bring home the championship in 2018.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've got an addictive personality, and certainly I'm addicted to all things Tigers football. For all of you that still don't believe it.
Yeah, I can safely say that I was introduced Dan to that when he moved here shortly after we met.
We have a whole command center going during the year in my house.
We do.
Depending on that Saturday, we will actually have as many as 3 TVs and 2 computers going at the same time.
Yeah, we had 5 games going. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. No, Studio D is also the most exclusive sports bar in the upstate.
It's a football hub. That's where everybody wants to come.
That's right. It's where everyone wants to come, but ain't nobody heard about it because you're not that cool. So, speaking of Tigers football, Steven, what do we got going on this year? What's coming up? We got some quarterback.
We got some quarterback
confusion, don't we?
Got the returning starter, Kelly Bryant, went 12-2 last year as a starter. He definitely earned the right as a starter this year. We do have an incoming freshman by the name of Trevor Lawrence, highly touted recruit out of the state of Georgia. He's really good quarterback, real tall, 6'6", got a cannon for an arm.
He's 6'6"?
6'6".
That's like Cam Newton shit.
Yeah.
Cam is from the future. We all know he was sent
He definitely is a Superman, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was a Terminator that was reprogrammed for good and sent back to change the future for the better. Bryant was supposed to be a placeholder, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really was. Didn't know much about him because he hadn't started any games, and just took the ball and just ran with it and did an excellent job playing. So they call him Kelly B. That's what they call him.
Kelly B. He wasn't Kelly B this time last year, was he?
No, he was not.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't supposed to be Kelly B, was he?
No.
He was supposed to be a placeholder for
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence is still coming in. Where are we at with that?
If Kelly Bryant doesn't have his stuff or doesn't step it up, he could slide in.
Yeah, it's his job to lose unless he just completely just shits the bed with it.
The big question is, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be number one, Lawrence or Bryant?
I really do think in the end, Bryant's going to continue to be that starter just because he's got that experience from last year. It's all about what they do in practice. We don't, as fans, we don't see that. We just see what happens on game day. We don't see kind of what goes on in practice every single day.
Right. And Lawrence is a freshman.
Lawrence will be on the coach. He's there to learn right now.
Are they going to redshirt him?
Probably not.
That was a good question, Lightning Lad. Thank you, Dan.
Excellent
Thank
question.
you very
Wonderful.
much.
Excellent question there, Dan. Are they going to redshirt him? No, I don't think they're going to redshirt him just because they want to prepare him for the next season once Kelly leaves. So he's, like I said, definitely going to get some playing time. So it's not like he's not going to ride the pine all season, though, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, he's still going to have 3 more years to shine and be the big shit there after Bryant leaves.
Yeah, he's going to be the big dog and, hopefully bring him a championship again, during those 3 years. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You got a chance to change that ACC back to what it used to be, and that means another Clemson championship.
Dabo Swinney, coach of the
Clemson University Tigers, that's right.
Clemson University Tigers. He raised $350,000 just this other week for his foundation. It's the All In Team Foundation. You've heard of that, Stephen?
I have. All In Foundation, yep.
Okay, excellent. He raised $350,000 for the Dabo Swinney's Ladies Clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you hear about that?
I did. They do a ladies clinic every year where they get to kind of go through what the players go through. They get to go in the locker rooms, get to run down the hill, and see what the program's all about. So yeah, that's a program he's had in place. I don't know when he actually started it, but it's been growing every year. I think it started out with probably 20 ladies, and now I'm sure it's in the hundreds as far as people that attend.
Yeah. Let's see here. Well, I can tell you exactly who attended. 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's talking about giving back. Talking about giving back in the right way. In terms of what we hear, certainly in pro football, when it comes to football and human females, generally isn't that positive.
No.
It's nice to hear that on the collegiate level. We got a guy like Dabo out there spreading that shine.
Using his platform to an advantage, you know?
Using his platform to an advantage. I couldn't have put it better myself. Sexy Thor could have.
But Steven said it first.
That's right.
Dabo Swinney says as the head football coach at Clemson University, he has a platform, and it's a platform he plans to use as long as he's the head coach in Tiger Town.
$250,000 to buy a new mobile mammography bus for St. Francis that'll go in all the lower income areas and give free mammograms, and $100,000 to Coney.
So to wrap up, Bryant's going to start. Lawrence is right behind him.
And you may have a 2-quarterback system this year where they could play a couple possessions and then Lawrence would come in and vice versa, so you never know.
You might be able to make that work, but usually when you throw 2-quarterback systems, it always does not end as well as you want it to.
You're right. The cohesiveness with the lines aren't as good. They have to learn, as far as that quarterback tempo, as far as their movements and stuff. So it's really like Adam said, usually doesn't work out too good.
It looks good on paper.
Yeah.
It sounds good in my head, but functionally speaking, you've got a boss and then you've got a number 2. You have your quarterback, and then you have your other quarterback.
Right.
It's not you've got your quarterbacks. So our prediction, which means no other radio station, no other sportscaster, no other newspaper, no other 2 motherfuckers sitting at the coffee shop or bar or dirty couch in a garage smoking cigarettes, because you shouldn't be smoking in your house, people. It's just gross, especially if you have children. Nobody needs to talk about anymore the Bryant Lawrence, what's going to happen, right?
Right.
The debate on that is settled. You don't need to discuss it on the dirty couch or in the bar or whatever. What you can do on the dirty couch in the bar is listen to Thunder Talk on Mjolnir Monday.
Now, is this podcast available on iTunes?
Hell yeah, it is. Hella yeah, it is.
Well, that pretty much wraps up our college football talk for the day. We discussed a lot of topics, and Clemson football is definitely a force to be reckoned with again, and we're going to look forward to see what happens this season. So go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
And that's a wrap. Go Tar Heels.
This is a 30-second ad spot for the Black Market Toast podcast, where we take a piece of media out of the cupboard, dust it off, toast it up, and serve it as something completely new.
What?
Well, it means we either listen to or watch a movie or TV show or piece of music, and then...
It's not like we just use whatever media we pick as a conversation starter.
Well, because it's fun, okay? Listen to it on your podcatcher of choice, and follow us on Facebook or something.
I actually had a chance to go to SC Comic-Con once, and by chance I mean no chance. As in, a good friend of mine sent me a text picture years ago of some really awesome Venture Brothers swag. And I was like, oh, damn, where's that? I want to give that my money. And she's like, oh, I'm at San Diego Comic-Con. I got some tickets. And I was like, why am I not there? And she's like, oh, I know that you're stupid about Star Wars and junk, but I don't know if this would be your scene. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks a lot.
That's beautiful, Helper. What was that, Shel Silverstein? Well, I don't think Maya Angelou was talking about this chick.
Now, one of the things they do at these conventions is exclusives. And when I say exclusives, I mean toys, because toys is what I'm into. Have you heard of the Dr. Aphra comic, Sexy Thor? It's a Star Wars comic, new character, Marvel.
Dr. Aphra! You are an irresponsible and troublesome woman.
Oh yeah, I've had the chance to pick up her first issue at the Last Jedi premiere and give that a read. It seems like it's a pretty good series. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool in terms of the Disney expanded universe. And by expanded, I mean not on a cartoon or movie screen. Dr. Aphra is a pretty rad character, first introduced in the Vader comics, as in Darth Vader. You're like, oh, you mean Steve Vader?
The band Vader?
Certainly, I mean, Jillian Vader. Yeah, she lives in the Park Meadows subdivision. I deliver pizzas there.
Dr. Aphra, I have need of you.
The Dr. Aphra character, pretty cool character. San Diego Comic-Con toy exclusives. They had a 3-pack in the Star Wars 3 3/4 inch Hasbro toy line, which is what I have always been about my entire life. And they made a 15 point of articulation figure of Dr. Aphra, as well as her homicidal protocol droid 000.
Well, hello, 000 personality matrix. You're looking delightful this evening.
And the equally homicidal astromech, whose name I forget. Going for $50. And I would really like to own that. I would like that to be mine, but I can't unless I get on eBay and pay $100+. What do you feel about that, Sexy Thor?
Well, I can only say so much because outside of my Harley Quinn collection, I don't have the hugest toy collection anymore. But yeah, I mean, paying those truckloads of money for toys you can only get across the bay or across the country, one of those two, across the realms. That you would have to take a little bit more than a Bifrost to get to. It does seem pretty ridiculous to me.
Yeah. I mean, I want it. I want to give somebody my money for that. And I can't because I live in South Carolina and I didn't buy tickets for SC Comic-Con, the 12 that they now release to the general public because it's now like one of the biggest media events in Midgard. It hurts. It hurt. You know, and on top of that, you're trying to find figures in the stores. They're failing at that. I think Lightning Lad might be done with Star Wars toys.
And especially with the fact that there's no Toys R Us. I mean, that just really puts a cramp on any quest to collect these toys.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Maybe I should grow up and start smoking and maybe go buy myself a Guns N' Roses tape.
So why don't we just make a time machine back to 1987? Or better yet, get the Time Stone. I'm sure the Wizard will lease us a Time Stone.
Dude. Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lord Vader, Sir, Your Majesty, Your Illustriousness. Honestly, no idea.
Hey, good listeners out there. If you're at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, if you're like just being a good Samaritan and selling to me at retail price, the Dr. Aphra 3-pack of the Hasbro Star Wars 3 3/4 inch line, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, go ahead and hit us up here at Sexy Thor's Thunder Talk at gmail.com. And I'll give you my money if Hasbro doesn't want it. You pirates. That wasn't the only thing going on at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. They've now made a lot of announcements about the future of Walking Dead. Have you heard about that, Missy?
Oh, yeah. Walking Dead, that is my junk.
Oh, yeah. At least half of Thunder Talk, we love us some zombies.
The last movie to give me nightmares was the original Dawn of the Dead.
Ooh,
I was 12
yeah.
years old.
I saw the remake of Dawn of the Dead first, and, you know, it was good stuff. You know, it appealed to all my 13-year-old sensibilities, and pretty much my experience with zombie flicks by then had been the Dawn of the Dead remake and the Resident Evil movies. And then I watched the original Romero trilogy, Dawn of the Dead specifically, and it put all that to shame because if I tell you, I was absolutely grossed out in the opening scene when they're in the apartments and the SWAT team is trying to clear the zombie invasion, even though they know it's not zombies, and the woman runs up to her husband or whatever and gives him a hug and is trying to, you know, make him be okay, and then he just takes a chunk out of her neck as easy as I would bite into a drumstick.
Yeah, no, what was cool about the original Dawn of the Dead versus the remake was it showed that the zombie apocalypse doesn't happen overnight while you were sleeping. It shows that shit would take months to happen, and you would have scenarios where families living in an apartment in the middle of a city would be hiding their family members who have already become zombies, hiding them down in the boiler room and whatnot, not understanding that their husband, their child, their parent is dead. It shows that a zombie apocalypse would be a slow crawl. When the zombies are slow, when they shamble as opposed to run at you, which I think is far more plausible, which is one of the things I like about Walking Dead.
of SC Comic Con. And Missy, what's your hot take? I hear that the main character, Mr. Sheriff guy, is taking off. What's up, you guys?
You know, you never know with The Walking Dead. I read the comics as well, so you never know when they're going to kill somebody that's still alive in the comic books. The sheriff dude, which is Rick Grimes, he may die. We never know what they're planning on doing. Even though most of the characters in the comic book are alive, they have no chance of living in The Walking Dead, which, you know, may defer a lot of their fans away from The Walking Dead just because of their main favorite character dying.
Exactly, because there's been, look no further than, you know, the way Hachel died between the two mediums, and, you know, probably the most famous scene in The Walking Dead, which is the semicircle where they meet Negan for the first time, and how that played out in the comic book versus how that played out on TV. It's like, you never know.
You don't really think that you were going to get through this without being punished now, did you?
Well, let's talk about the comic book. We are a show that fucks with comic books.
We are?
Yeah, as far as the comic books, I love the comic books. It's way more explicit than the TV show, obviously. As far as the comic books, it's a lot more drawn out than the show, which that's one thing that I love.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I read the first graphic novel, which would be a compilation of X amount of issues, and it was dark. And then I watched the first episode of the series, and I realized that they couldn't. Outside of like HBO or Netflix or something like that, they couldn't go the way the comic books went.
Have you ever done things that made you feel afraid of yourself afterward? Have you ever been covered in so much blood that you didn't know if it was yours, or Walker's, or your friends? Huh?
As far as The Walking Dead, I feel like they went too soon with the spinoff, which is called Fear of the Walking Dead. I think they went too soon on that. I feel like they could have waited a little bit longer to do a spinoff of the show, give people, you know, a chance to get into The Walking Dead a little bit more than what it is, because let's be honest, we're talking, you know, they're years behind what the comic book is doing. So they could have gave the Walking Dead a little bit more time before they came out with a spinoff of it.
Now, Fear of the Walking Dead, that all takes place on a space station, right? As opposed to, like, jamming in the galaxy, which is why people are like, what? You mean they don't go anywhere?
No, that's not what happens.
I'm thinking about the wrong show?
No, it actually starts off taking place in Lightning Lad's hometown of Los Angeles.
Oh no! Worst place you don't want to be in LA with zombies. When zombies are like, you know what? We're gonna take a go at this whole thing.
And they've also kind of made major points with losing main characters like that, because this past half season they killed off Madison, played by Kim Dickens, and Nick, played by the guy who's the son of Stannis Baratheon's actor on Game of Thrones. I forget his name real quick. Frank Delane. Got it.
There you go.
But yeah, like, they killed off those two major characters this past half season. And so with the exception of 3 characters, it's almost a pretty much new cast, or newish, since Morgan. Even you've seen Morgan because you've seen the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's part of that cast now.
I don't remember, dude. I'm not even going to lie.
You can't forget Lenny James, man. He's awesome.
Lenny James.
He's the reason for The Walking Dead, honestly.
Yeah.
There would not be a Walking Dead without Morgan. Morgan, we miss you. On the original Walking Dead, he made a jump to the Fear of the Walking Dead, which is pretty awesome that they would do that, considering in the comic books he killed himself in the comic books, which is another reason why I think people should read the comic books as well as look at the television show. But as far as the season that's coming up, obviously Negan is in jail. He's in Rick Grimes' jail cell. There's no Carl. So what's going to happen in this next season? I'm really looking forward to what they're going to change up as far as what's in the comic books.
You're all already dead.
With that, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, we went from San Diego to zombies. That's like, what, a 2+ hour drive? I know there's a toll road in the middle. You hit it like somewhere in Orange County, like Fountain. Anyway. And we out.
Peace.
It's Dan's bad advice column. Fuck yeah.
Dear Dan, I am a 20-year-old college student. After attending a local community college for 2 years, I will be starting classes at a 4-year school. I make excellent grades, but I struggle with organization. My mother has ADD, and I am certain that I also have it because I display all the symptoms. However, I have never been diagnosed. My mother purposely didn't have me diagnosed as a child because she didn't want me to feel like there was anything holding me back. Now that I'm an adult, I keep wondering if getting a diagnosis along with some mental and emotional support might help me to become more organized and successful in life. Any advice would be appreciated, along with any resources you might know of for people who have ADD or ADHD. By Anonymous in the South.
All right, Anonymous in the South. That's it's a pretty boring question, but I'm also trying to stay anonymous in the South, so I'll give you an answer. Okay, so first of all, your mom has ADD. That's going to be step one. She has a medicine cabinet with ADD medicine in it, I'm sure, unless she's just looking for something to talk about with people, or an excuse for the fact that she exhibits ADD behavior. Hit it up. You say you're going off to a 4-year college. I don't know what your living situation is, but generally speaking, it's when people start to grow up, move out. One of the things that struck me when I first moved out was, hey, I don't have any shampoo. Because I don't own shampoo. I took shampoo for granted. Don't take your mom's medicine cabinet for granted. Jump in there. See what she's got. You're looking for anything that has the general words amphetamine in the Latin-looking name printed under what the free market is actually calling it. You say that you already get good grades. I would say to you that you probably don't have ADD, which don't let anybody fool you. That's actually pretty rad, because when you actually take ADD medication, you get high off of it. And being that you're in college, that's what it's all about. So you're already really good at getting grades. Let's see how good you are at masturbating for 15 hours. Now, okay, so you've got your mom. Where else are you going to get some supply? Maybe you have a job or an allowance, or you're a paper boy. You're at college, bro. Okay? I mean, you can get Addies at $5 a pop. You're at college, dude. All right, I mean, think about it. That's like growing up high school. Everything you need is right there. I mean, you got your Vyvanse, your Concerta, your classic Ritalin. That sounds like a superhero origin story right there. Bathed in amphetamines while masturbating and writing his thesis paper. Dr. Bruce Samuel John Richards. I mean, if I were to just tie this up with a bow and put it simply, after all of that, start balancing out with a little bit of weed and a little bit of self-delusion. Fat college debt, along with a healthy prescription amphetamine addiction, will definitely get you ready for the middle American workforce, but it won't prepare you for life.
It's Dan's bad advice column. Fuck yeah.
All right, well, I think we've taken enough of these good people's time. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, sexy Thor, why don't you tell the good people out there how they can find us on the internet?
Well, you can find us in multiple ways. There's a Thunder Talk like page on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, there is.
Instagram is Thunder Talk Thor, all one word. Twitter is Thunder Talk 1. That's just the number 1. And am I missing anything?
We're on iTunes, aren't we?
Yes, we are. iTunes. Just type in Thunder Talk, select the podcast that says Thunder Talk that has the logo with an image that says Thunder Talk, and there will be. We're also on Podbean, thundertalk.podbean.com, and we're also on YouTube right now. All the episodes are currently under my personal account, so it's youtube.com/adamantiumtiger. That's ADAMANTIUMTIGER. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and assume you know how to spell adamantium, though.
Huh. Now, okay, so that's how they find us on YouTube.
Do it.
That's how they find us on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and we'll be modifying that, so all you got to do is Thunder Talk, and boom, there we are. You know, there's another way all you good people out there can reach out and touch some Thunder Talk. We got a phone number, or should I say our dear friends over at the Nerd Bliss are loaning us the use of their voicemail line. That is 864-715-9446. Go ahead and drop us a dime. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what you think. Tell us that we're wasting our lives.
Yeah.
And that we should probably go back to mime school or something.
Yeah, tell Dan he's an asshole. Tell Sexy Thor he's a prick. Whatever's on your mind.
Whatever's on your mind, yeah. You know, I was in my car today, and it occurred to me that Sexy Thor is a prick. Dan's an asshole. I was in the shower today, and it occurred to me, I don't know, just out of nowhere, that these guys are a bunch of ass clowns. Yeah, let us know. Hit us up. Share all your thoughts and all your ugly thoughts and feelings about us with us. We would love to hear them.
Exactly. If you don't like it, say it to our podcast.
That's right. That's right. Stand up and look our podcast in the ear and tell it. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
I think we're out. I think we're done. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to Thunder Talk. We love you.
Love you, mean it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thunder Talk is a production of the Weirdos Workshop, starring Sexy Thor and Lightning Lad. Executive producer, Dan Klink. Social media director, Adam Weston. Video editing, Anthony Arbizo. Vice Admiral Chris Jones. Lead contributors, Jon Rasmussen of Black Market Toast Podcast, Eric Jones of the Nerdless Podcast, and Missy Waters of Her Own Badass Self. Dan's Bad Advice column is meant for entertainment purposes only. Thunder Talk, the Weirdos Workshop, and its subsidiaries are not responsible for anyone who actually takes that advice. If you do, whatevs, bro. Whatever.